Okay, hello. Today in this video, brought to you by Squarespace, I'm trying something a little bit different. Well, it's a technique that's been around for probably thousands of years because I'm using this Chinese ink. I think maybe also called Sumi ink. I'm not exactly sure what makes it different than some of the other inks I've used, but it has like many art supplies, it has a very distinct smell. It smells kind of like a musty basement. It smells kind of earthy. I think this is the same kind of ink I had one video a long time ago where I made my own by you can get like an ink block and then a little grinding stone and put some water on there and rub the ink on the stone and make your own ink that way. Pretty interesting. So 2 pieces in the sketchbook today. The first one is this one where I making some big dark blocks of black with the ink and then drawing on the inside of them with a white Posca pen. And then the next one will just be like a regular fountain pen drawing. So yeah, I've been thinking about sleep lately because falling asleep is one of my favorite things to do. And when it goes well, it's amazing and it feels wonderful. But when it doesn't go well, it's really it's frustrating, right? To lie there, I feel like I'm wasting my time, and then the more frustrated I get, the less I fall asleep. And I've tried a lot of different ways to guarantee that I fall asleep when I go to bed. One part of it is to sleep well all night long, but one part of it, a different part of it, is to actually fall asleep in the first place, right? I don't think I have a hard time with sleeping all night. The part that's that I put more thought into is just the falling asleep part itself. And I've tried a lot of things. Some things work well, some things don't. And I've been trying a new thing lately, which has at least been interesting with mixed results. And I'm going to tell you about it. Some things I've tried in the past. One thing is that works good is just going to bed only when I'm just absolutely dog tired. But that has its downsides in that technique doesn't fit into a lot of different schedules, right? You kind of have to schedule everything else around that because you just kind of stay up until you can't stay up anymore. If you have a schedule, any sort of schedule that you need to work into your life, then usually you need to go to bed at a certain time so that you can get up at a certain time so that you'll have gotten enough sleep. But more about that in a second. Let me talk about Squarespace for a second. They have this thing called Fluid Engine now, which is their new website design system so that you can drag and drop things around in the website templates and customize every little detail of it without having to be a web design expert. Plus, with your online store that you might want to set up, you can easily sell custom merch and create a passive income stream for yourself. If you want to design your products, then the production, the inventory, and the shipping are all handled for you on their side, and then all you have to do is keep making things, keep being creative. So go to squarespace.com for a free trial, and when you're ready to launch, go to squarespace.com/PeterDraws for 10% off your first website or domain. All right. Anyways, what was I talking about? Oh yeah, there's a lot of different ways to fall asleep, and they all have their ups and downs. And one of my main problems is that if I'm not just absolutely so tired that I'm falling asleep as soon as I hit the pillow, my problem is that my brain is always running, and I'm just sitting there thinking about so many different things. One way I used to, combat this was I would listen to music, or that was nice sometimes, and that worked for a while. I don't really do that anymore. Or sometimes I listen to an audio book. That's also nice, but then sometimes you have to kind of wake up a little bit as you realize you're falling asleep to turn off the audiobook. Otherwise, you miss a bunch of the audiobook as you fall asleep, and then in the morning you don't realize where you're at in the book anymore. Another thing you can do, see, these are just things I'm doing to kind of occupy my brain a little bit. Obviously, there's also things like substances and, having a drink or two at night before you go to bed, but I don't really want to get to that point where I'm so much in the habit of having a drink to go to bed just so I can fall asleep that I associate going to bed with alcohol or some substance or sleeping pills or something, right? That doesn't feel healthy. Anyways, so here, finally, let me tell you the thing I've been doing lately, which is like this weird little mind game surrounding kind of the feeling of dreams. Because I've heard some people suggest that when you fall asleep, a good way to do it is just to pretend to be asleep, and then eventually you will be. So sometimes what I've been doing is just also pretend to dream. The weird thing about dreams is that to me they kind of seem like our imagination that we don't have control of. And if I find myself lying there and I start imagining things, if I start kind of dreaming myself a dream, sometimes I can feel myself losing control. I can feel my imagination becoming a dream, which is a very weird thing because usually I have complete control over what I'm imagining. And it's an odd feeling to lose that control, which is where I have to be careful with this technique. Because, for example, some of the things that I try imagining for this technique, which when it works well because I imagine something, I'm lying there with my eyes closed, I have the fan on, I'm breathing calmly, and I'm imagining, I'm starting kind of like jump starting a dream for myself, right? And if it goes well, then suddenly I think what happens is I kind of am dreaming. But when it goes poorly, I get kind of freaked out with where my dream is where it's taking me, because I'm not in control anymore. So some of the things I do, for example, here's what I imagine. One of my favorite things is walking along the wall of like a nondescript white room, like a museum gallery room. There's just as few details as possible. And on the wall, this white painted wall, there are some like cubes on it, also white, kind of spaced out. And I can just kind of walk along and touch them with my hand. I'm just imagining a simple thing that I can call up in my head very easily. It's not difficult to imagine. And it's just a calm, simple thing that I'm doing as I can imagine this as I fall asleep, right? Just kind of something I can conjure up in my mind to hand off to my subconscious, for my subconscious to do with what it will. Another thing I've imagined is sitting at a little desk and like playing with some little wooden blocks, maybe like 10 or 12 of them. I don't know why I like using blocks in these things. Sometimes maybe then there will be like an ornate border on the desk, and I can start running my fingers over that. And then as I fall asleep and my imagination becomes a dream, who knows what will happen next? Who knows? That's the whole thing. It can go a lot of different directions from there. But here's where it gets weird, because I have learned what types of things I shouldn't imagine. Like, I shouldn't imagine myself in, I think they're called liminal spaces, I think this means like spaces between other spaces, like a hallway. Imagining myself walking down a hallway is weirdly scary in this situation, because as I start to lose control and it feels like it's becoming a dream, I get really scared, for example, of what could be in any of the rooms to the side of the hallway, or who else might come into the hallway, or where the hallway is leading. For some reason, all the strange possibilities and options are kind of make me anxious and is counterproductive to the idea of me wanting to fall asleep. The same thing as sometimes I've tried to, the idea of running my hand along a railing seemed kind of relaxing at first. And I've tried it before, but it really only works if it's just in a little room. If I'm going down like an escalator or down a stairway, it doesn't work. It's too scary. What's at the bottom of the stairs? What if someone is behind me or coming up the stairs? Or, what if it's dark at the bottom of the stairs? Or if I fall, or I don't, it could be all these different things make it not relaxing. But another one I tried is wading in water. Wading in water is interesting because it's kind of relaxing. Like you can choose, do I want it to be slightly cool water, slightly warm water, and all the things you like maybe about the beach or the pool. You can choose what your favorites are. Do I want it to, be a nice firm type of sand on the bottom? You can know that there's never going to be any seaweed or gooey stuff down there. You can choose for it to be perfectly clear, sunny day, or it to be like a sunset and there's waves or something, or it can be completely calm and serene. But one of the things that happens to me in this situation as I'm falling asleep is sometimes I'm walking slowly through the water and it's relaxing. It seems kind of dreamlike, right? But sometimes the water starts getting deeper, and I was up to my waist and I'm suddenly up to my neck now, and I'm starting to go underwater. Or sometimes I start worrying about what I could be stepping on. If it's getting dark and the sun's going down, there could be crabs or weird fish or slimy seaweeds under there. I don't know. So I don't know. I'm just having fun trying out different. I'm kind of just experimenting with my own brain and seeing how it reacts to falling asleep with different little ideas in its own head, if that makes sense. I don't know if any of you have tried anything like that before, but let me know how it's worked for you if you try that ever. Anyways, thanks for watching, everyone. See you later. Hope you do well. Hope you're doing... choked on some spit. Hope you're doing well, And, take care. Hope you like these drawings. All right? I'll see you later. Goodbye.